I'm Myochi.
And I am Renee, and welcome to the 40 Spot, where we talk about the highs and lows and everything in between about being 40. So, if you are new to our channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're returning, we're glad to see you again. We hope that you had a good 2 weeks while we were out. And please like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, catch up things on the replay wherever you get your podcast at. Also, if you want to support our channel, you can support our channel through Cash App at $ the 40 the number 40 spot. Also, feel free to email us at the40spot at gmail.com.
All right, and on this week's episode, we will be discussing part two of Is There Piss in the Dating Pool? But first, we're going to get into our While We Were Out segment. This is where we discuss news, entertainment, and personal experiences that have occurred since our last show. So, what's first on the list, girl?
So, the first things on the list is we have a lot of stuff dealing with the Supreme Court. They have been definitely booked and busy. And not in like
For
the
real.
great way at all. So, first things first, as we said last week, they rolled back Roe versus Wade, but to add a little twist to it, they thinking about starting to do child support at conception. So yeah, so you get that lady pregnant, isn't no the baby here. We go wait until we get blood tests back. Like no, ain't no blood test. She said it's your baby, so guess what? You got to start supporting that child. So
Yes,
accountability,
I think it's
separate
great.
out.
It's something that the Republicans are trying to pass.
Mhm.
Interesting enough, you can determine paternity at 7 weeks. So it's not impossible. I saw a lot of people commenting saying, like, well, how will you know? How's that even possible? What are you paying for? Well, babies are expensive from day one. Mothers have to eat. They have a lot of doctor's appointments. They have to
Yeah.
buy new clothes. They have to be healthy. So you need to do as much as you can to help them along the journey of carrying your child. I think it's, you know, maybe some men are now they'll get involved and now they feel like it's their issue. Who
Yes.
knows?
So it's no longer women get pregnant. Yes, women get pregnant. However, men and women together create that
Correct.
baby. And I use you. I used to work at a genetic center, and we would take like samples of it's a space between the placenta and the uterine wall called the chorionic villi. You could take some cells from that, and you could also determine paternity and the sex of the child. But they would do that around the 11th week.
Hmm.
But of course, anytime it's a kind of invasive procedure like that, it does come with risk. So that also kind of make you wonder because it does increase chances of having a miscarriage because you are disrupting some things there. And it's like, okay, now what we gonna do about Roe versus Wade if something like that happens? But I'm here for it. I will vote for it. I'm glad that they're not just looking at the woman's responsibility part of it, also the male's responsibility part of it.
Yeah, definitely it's going to be a little challenge there because you still get into that. How do you know, or is he going to come to court? But I would assume that it'll be very much like now. If someone says that this person's the father of the child, if you don't show up to court,
Mhm.
you're automatically there because you didn't come and you didn't, state your facts and you didn't get tested. So I think it's good. It's interesting. It was surprising, honestly, especially for the Republicans, but they're probably still trying to just save money. They say, you know what, the state don't need to pay for anything. I'm here for it. I think everybody involved should be involved in this process and the expenses.
This
But
is
you
true.
know, the Supreme Court has very much been busy, honey. Recently, they kind of just gut the lifeline for prisoners who claim wrongful convictions.
Mm.
So basically, they're trying to say leave it up to the states. The states have rights. But the problem with this is if new evidence comes up, you know, that does not help these people who are incarcerated to have a retrial.
Right.
And they also are trying to ban federal courts from overruling state courts. So it's just, when they say make America great, they're trying to talk about the America that was long, long, long time ago when only certain people had rights, only certain people could have justice. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
And so minorities and poor people will definitely be most affected by this. And also, it comes a point where then, what would the federal courts be needed to do unless it's something with a federal crime? Because a lot of people, they don't know the hierarchy of courts and stuff. You got your regular courts, you got circuit court, and each state has a Supreme Court, and then you have federal courts above that before you even get to the Supreme Court. Because when if a case goes to the Supreme Court, they only have 30 minutes each side to argue their case.
Hmm.
So, and they've already had all of the information. So, in order for it to go to that, there's, sometimes some people think, and I know initially I was just thinking about just criminal, but a lot of civil rights cases end up going up to the chain to that. So, it's kind of like we're not going to deal with it at all, but what's the purpose of them? If
Well,
they,
I mean,
you know,
speaking of civil rights, they're also discussing, well, interesting enough, Clarence Thomas wants to roll back gay marriage rights. And I've also read, I don't know how true this part is about interracial marriages. So, I think
be it that he's married to a white woman.
correct. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And
Interesting.
also, just with that piece, right? Because there are a lot of mixed race children, individuals, not just their children, adults out there that has black and something else, or white and something else, or it could be something else and something else. So if you, is that just for black and white, or is that going to be for, let's say, a Pacific Islander and a Native American? If
I
it's
guess
just
it
a
all depends on the state because again, that's his argument. States have rights. It's like yes, they do, but that's why you have hierarchy and you have chains of commands. It's just interesting. I don't think that a lot of the things that they're doing is going to stick. But I do feel like they're just trying to have a mix up. It's like do a whole bunch of stuff, right? And it's probably a lot of it is probably a distraction for something that we don't even know what's going on. I always believe in those things that
Oh,
make noise
absolutely.
over here so that what we're doing over here, nobody's paying attention to it. So everybody get lost in the other stuff.
It's definitely a decoy, and those type of things that they're talking about right now, for the most part, a lot of that will not affect majority of Americans, to
Right.
be honest with you. Roe versus Wade does not, it's probably less than 1% of people that it actually will affect, in terms of elective abortions, because that's what the first thing people think of when they think of Roe versus Wade. Not just, okay, there has been something that happened during the course of that pregnancy, and that pregnancy needs to be terminated, or your body has not rejected that. So then that's when you get into some other more medical things
Right.
of nature. Um, but there has been a circulation of Rosa Parks made a statement when Clarence Thomas was nominated for Supreme Court, and he was able to get the nomination and they sworn him in. She said that he was not good for the nation at whole, and he definitely was not good for black people, and that it was things about him. And I guess she had researched it
Hmm.
a lot, and she just knew for things that he actually stood for, or he had written about or interviewed of, that he was not going to be good. And it's like, this is the things that's happening, as well as Anita Hill.
I mean,
And
if you think about it, I was just about to bring that up with Anita Hill. If you think about it, it's interesting how all these people are getting these high appointments who have these sexual misconduct accusations.
oh yes, it I,
And
I
all they do is talk about it, you move on, they still get the position.
I haven't even thought about that, but that's definitely something. you don't want to falsely accuse people of
Hmm.
such an egregious crime, because
Hmm.
to me it's a crime.
It is a crime.
However, it's almost like something in your background need to say, guess what? Somebody brought something up about you, so guess what? There may be some problems in the future in terms of that.
Right.
So and I saw her do a little interview, and she was very very poised and stuff like that, and she talked about his appointment, that it's a lot of things from the legal standpoint, dealing with his wife and stuff like that, that he should have already recused himself from, for conflict of interest,
Oh,
and
yeah.
nobody's calling it out, nobody's
Yeah.
not saying anything, and it's
And if
kind of like,
anyone's wondering, his wife was involved in the January 6th insurrection.
yeah.
So apparently she was calling it.
Yeah, so it's
Calling
kind of
for
like,
it.
who's on the Supreme Court? Do both of them share the seat together, or he's the face but she's the brains behind it? I don't know, but it's really really not good. And when you really think of it, other than his appointment, and him
Who
to
he
be
is.
on there,
Mhm.
you ain't heard a peep out of him.
No, or you don't know anything that he's done that has benefited the nation or Black people as a whole, African Americans as a whole. And we get
Absolutely.
excited about these people being put in these positions because we think not necessarily that you're just going to do things for people, Black people, but at least that because you're coming from this marginalized community, that you're going to have a different mindset. It's
Yeah.
just a different mindset. You're not thinking about the 1%. You're not thinking about, oh, those in power. You're thinking about everyone, but the reality is all skin folk ain't kin folk.
Hello.
So there's that is on Mr. Thomas. But listen, we've been dealing with COVID a long time. It's funny because like at the beginning of or sometime last year, I don't know if we started this year too, but like every month something was happening.
Yes.
Well, we've had these different things happen where there's a new disease out. I
Well,
know,
it's
yeah.
not new. It's almost like, don't call it a comeback, but it done come back.
Right, right. It's not new, but but it's definitely at more places than it was initially. So monkeypox. World Health Organization declares monkeypox outbreak a public health emergency. Cases have been reported in 74 countries.
Right. Yes.
And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's a vaccine, no thank you.
Um, well, I will say
I'll tell
this.
you that's my position.
There is a vaccine for it, but it's not a new vaccine. It is an older vaccine, because this has been around
Mhm.
quite some time. And there has been talks where eluded that if you've been vaccinated against smallpox, that it will cover monkeypox, because it's in the same viral family, but it does not offer any type of protection.
Right,
But
and
there
it
is,
says only 85% of efficacy. So
yes, but that vaccine is something that has been around, but right now, because most of the people who would get that was people like from the CDC or researchers that was going to these small remote places where there was outbreaks, they was the only ones that was getting it, military personnel. So it wasn't like they just had stockpiles and stockpiles. So there definitely, a push for that. And just a little history fact, this is the third time ever in history that the World Health Organization has called a global emergency. The
really,
first one was with smallpox, the second one was coronavirus, and now with monkeypox.
wow.
So when you look at just from smallpox to coronavirus, there was somewhat peace, on the viral front and everything, that they had not had to say it's a global emergency. Um, but check your states, even though it's 74 countries, it's already here
Yeah,
in the United States, um, where I work
be
in.
careful. Wash your hands. Do like I mean, so here's a little bit about it. It can take up to 21 days to incubate. So that's 3 whole weeks. You would by that point you won't even know where you got it from really. You can be asymptomatic. It can be spread through kissing. can take 4 weeks to heal. It's super painful, and you may have long-term health um, effects. So
Yeah.
it sounds like it's long-term, kind of like long-term COVID. Um,
Cause see, this monkeypox is in the same family like with smallpox and milkmaid disease and those things, you know, it affected people's bones. Cause so sometimes you see like older people they have, and you can tell like if you've been knowing them for a while, they will always walk with this particular type of way because it would attack those the bones and stuff like that. So it's just the way that it deposits in the body and it tries to hide and evade, and definitely in the nervous tissue. So I know primarily it's through contact, but based off the World Health Organization, it does say that they have some respiratory um, as well. So be
so
really
I have a question with that too, and I was trying to look it up because I remember hearing it, but I was trying to, can't believe everything on the internet. So tuberculosis, that there was um, some outbreak somewhere that they're finding the numbers going up, and I can't find it.
well. That is true, and to be honest with you, tuberculosis, especially in this country, has already been on the rise
Hmm.
since people um, was infected with HIV because it was immunocompromised. So we already had started seeing increasing numbers with that, but bacteria and viruses, because their genome is not so big, it's they're more likely to mutate and
Hmm.
change, and usually when they're changing to try to survive, so they become more resistant to treatment or you know to weather temperature conditions. So everything they do is to try to be able to survive, because it's like, all right, I got to do something so my kids, so
Yeah.
that's how it does. And their replication to reproduce is not like humans. It takes way less time. So they can change more rapidly. So that's why you see all these variants,
Hmm.
you know, of COVID and things of that nature. But
And truth be told, we wouldn't even know about the variants of COVID if we weren't watching COVID because it's variants of the flu virus. Like it's
yeah.
usually not the same.
And just speaking of the coronavirus family, there's like over 180 strains because that's the most common cause of like the common cold. That's why they don't
Mhm.
have vaccines for the common cold, because there's always, there there's so much,
They
and
change. Like there's no way to know which one you'll get.
yes, you just had the most common ones. Um, so if everybody would do like they did at the beginning when coronavirus first came out, that's going to be your most protective way to try to keep yourself safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting back to the Supreme Court, which had to let up all the gas. Now I've got a press that said they've been booked and busy these days. This is like in my lifetime, this is the most I've ever heard that Supreme Court been doing anything. And I know they do stuff, but I'm just saying this being in the news, like okay, they've been
Right.
saying. Um, During the Roe versus Wade, the next thing that they repealed, um, or they passed, that cops do not have to read you your Miranda rights. Well, we've seen a lot of cases where the cops did not read a person's their Miranda rights, so therefore the cases was thrown out, or there was things that they had to throw out dealing with that case because you wasn't told your rights. So with that, it makes it harder to enforce them to say it, number one, and number two, it won't be an issue when it comes to court, whether they said it in full, did they ask you, did you understand it, did they get under their breath, or whatever it is. So it's good, just if you get pulled over, something happened, if you can videotape it. Immediately start videotaping. I tell anybody, don't leave your house unless And if it's an emergency, you got to go at the last minute, go at the last minute. But at least have 80% of battery life, because you never know what may happen. And you need to record something, because that could be your saving grace. Because your Miranda rights, that's not it.
And I cannot recall what state, but there's a state that was actually trying to ban people from being able to record. I don't think that passed or they're in the worst, but I remember hearing that they wanted to be able to ban people being able to record the police. It's just a lot going on. There's a lot of rollback of rights. So
This is true, and I would say this: if any state wants to ban the right or a citizen to record a public service person
exactly.
on their job, and I'm not walking into your private home to record, that means there's so much of stuff that this public service worker is doing wrong that there needs to be some type of correction. Well, why don't you take care of the actual issue
Right.
instead of trying to wall off, the good, and let that evil just thrive? So,
I
as
think
I
the
said,
biggest thing is they're trying to keep out the court of public opinion and because we get really involved because now we don't find things out weeks later, months later, years later. We find it honestly real time,
yeah.
so I really think that is a big piece. And because people are they will get in an uproar and because we can galvanize so quickly because of the recordings and people going live, I think that's the reason why they don't want it. It's completely ridiculous the times that we're living in. Um, so much so, recording of people going to a place that's supposed to be happy and fun for children.
Mm, this one, it rubbed me. It went over me the wrong way.
And so what we're talking about is what we saw where at Sesame Street Place in Philadelphia, a mom recorded, where I don't know
They
the
having like a little parade
Rosita. It was
narrative.
a Rosita puppet, and she said hello to everyone else and just pass over. And not only did she pass over the kids, it was kind of like a brush away. And so the irony in it is that she posted this and people had comments, but then all these other parents started coming out about the
And
same
with videos
experience.
doing the
They
same.
had actual video of it. And what's interesting in it is that, as black people, sometimes we question ourselves because we're like, it's like we gaslight ourselves because you don't want to be, and maybe I'm reading it the wrong way. It's a
Like,
parade.
did they see
Maybe,
me? Did
maybe
they?
it didn't happen like that. So, but all it took was this one mom to say, no, this is what this was. And now all these parents are coming out talking about the same experience, have actual footage of it, the same thing. I'm sorry.
And it wasn't just at Sesame Place. This was at multiple different parades, amusement parks, theme parks, whatever like that. It was just a lot of people showed their video, because people they videotaping because they want the child to remember. Because some of the kids that go in is so young, they may not remember everything. But it's like they got jilted by them.
Well, and specifically the ones that people posted about Sesame Sesame Street Place. Now that more videos are coming out, they're about to do further investigation. And what's interesting, Sesame Street Place is actually separate from Sesame Street, the television show. Yes,
Right.
it's kind of like it's a part of that brand, but it's not like the people from the television show run that particular establishment. So they're supposed to be doing an investigation on it, and I'm glad that they are, and I'm glad that mom thought to post it and didn't just say, well, maybe I'm overthinking. And we do that. And I totally understand that. I do it all the time. You're questioning, like, was that? It's sad that we even have to question, was that happen? Did that just really happen? Or is it just me? Am I being sensitive? But yeah, it's ridiculous. You gotta have a wonderful time and your children are treated like secondhand citizens, like you got in for free. And even if you got in for free, everyone should be treated the same.
Exactly. And I know their Sesame Street, the initial statement that they said, they apologized
Mhm.
for the experience. And that was kind of it.
Mhm.
And we then they made a second one after it's
When
like,
the
oh
videos started
my God,
coming out.
everybody hashtagging and adding you, where it's just like, oh my God, we got a million people mad at us, and we trying to get that last little bit of people come before the summer is over. And then it was like, um, we want to investigate, and we want to reach out to the parents and stuff like that. We want to give them, like free passes and stuff. But to be honest with you, the damage is done. I don't want to go back there.
Right. Now the
Like,
kids, here's the thing, the kids may want to go because kids don't think, how
yes,
we think. The kids may want to go, but the investigation has to be done because again, there were several videos that came out specifically for this place where other children have had this experience. And so
yeah.
yes, you blatantly speak to these people, pass up these, and you talk.
But the
Sorry,
investigation should have been done on the beginning because, as I say, this is supposed to be a happy place. This is supposed to be where everybody in Sesame Street from the origins, it was all about inclusivity
right.
and everything like
That's
that.
why it was even created.
Exactly. So the last thing you want is the people to feel like that, and it should not be when everybody adding you, and now it's on Good Morning America, and it's on every
Right.
radio station and stuff, and then now you think it's going to affect your bottom line, not just at that location, but on that TV and all the paraphernalia that you sell. Because guess what? Some people they want these Sesame Street book bags and Sesame Street shoes and stuff like this. People are buying stuff to go back to school. So it should not affect your bottom line to do the right thing. Do the right thing because the right thing is the right thing to do. It should not be based off of money.
Right. And Fernette says, why does it have to take more than one to do something, especially if the one incident actually happened? Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's
Absolutely.
like saying, oh, well, it just happened to you. So it doesn't matter.
But just thinking about, and after this we can just move on because that's a whole show in itself. But just thinking about those two young black females, this is probably one of the highlights of their summer. You going and you seeing these people who you see on television. This is supposed to be a fun place. Who knows what sacrifices we made or whatever for it to in order for the kids to go. But then for you to do that and you look and it just hurt me, like my heart hurt for them because when they turn around, just like they just we was like this, and then like the little character looked down just like, not you. And you already in a society that you don't see representation and that you're looked over in those moments walk with people for a lifetime.
And I think you point out a great point that it wasn't that they just overlooked them. Rosita really was like, no. So
Yes,
you looked at me and you gestured to me, no, and moved on. To me,
exactly,
that should
because
have been
I
enough
know
to look
you
more
seen
into
it.
it. Yeah,
Because when it was just like, oh, with the eyes, they going to look down and all this stuff again. Like, no, because it would have been different if it had turned his head and had walked on past. Then maybe people be
correct.
like, well, I don't know. They look the other way. But when you see the thing head go down, and I wish we had the video so we could play it. And then it was just like, it was not a wave. It was like one finger you could tell
Hmm.
because a wave is more open, as for it gives a whole lot versus uh-uh.
Correct. And I
That,
think, even watching it, you could tell a wave from the no, no, no. And a
yeah,
wave is still acknowledgement because
yeah,
no, you can't touch everybody's hand in the crowd. You can't do that.
right.
But a wave to everybody to the side would have sufficed. But that no, 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 like I'm not talking to you. You've been
And
bad.
they looking like, did I do
And
something
they
wrong? And they look back at their
one
mom
little girl
like,
was like, what?
they look back at the mom like, what you gonna do? Which if I was in that shoe too, I would have been like, Mom, what's going on? What
Exactly.
happened? Why did they look over us? Because the person in front of them got a full hug.
Yeah.
Like, I
And then I don't know if it's like paid or you have to get there early. They're in the front. What I do know, like when we went to Disneyland, you don't pay extra to get in the front. However, you post up.
yeah.
You're like, I want to be in the front, so you post up so you can be in those spots. So whatever they said they're not gonna do, and they made that plan, we want to be right in the front. Those are
Hmm.
usually the ones that get the hugs and the high fives because they're closer. They did that, and then to be looked over, it's horrible. And I hope they make it right. I hope, and maybe the kids may go back again. Children are very different than us. They are very resilient.
Yeah.
So as a parent, you can teach them about what happened, but they will probably be very happy to go back and get like the VIP treatment.
Well,
I
Attorney
don't
Crump
see nothing
is
wrong with
on it because he had posted a picture with the mother and the children. So Attorney Crump is on
it. Honey, he's now talk about booked and busy. He is booked and busy.
it. Yes, he is. Yeah, he is. And just shout out to him, his team, but also to the so many other social activists, lawyers that's out there that we may not see that still is
So
dealing with,
many.
because there's so much stuff that we see, but it's so even more stuff that we don't see that's still going through the courts and people there fighting. And once we move from one headline, those people that's was that headline, they still dealing with those things.
Right. And I think
So
that's the most disheartening when you do see things like this and you see different things in the news, that to know that this is not a one off. This is not like, oh, some random thing that happened, that these things are happening and they continue to happen and we don't even know about it. So one day, one day.
yes,
But
but
moving on, just a little update. We've talked about Mr. Kevin Samuels when he was live and his death, but just kind of update. Within the last 2 weeks, they ruled that the death was a result of hypertension.
yes,
So I don't know if that's because they found hypertension medicine in his blood, probably with some type of medical history, but that's what they ruled.
uh,
I don't know the details of that because hypertension, have like maybe he had a heart attack and died, or
it
blood
could
pressure
be
was too
gave.
high and laid down, and
Well, I do
unfortunately,
know that he was an avid drinker of energy drinks because
yes, he loved him
he
a Red
he
Bull.
he drank them like it was no tomorrow when he was live on his shows and things of that nature. And we all know that they aren't good for you. Um, and if people had followed him at the kind of beginning of him coming on the internet, he had talked about when he was in his early 20s how he had cancer. I want to say a leukemia, and still was going through treatments, and people who know people who have went through chemotherapy, there are some major long-term side effects and stuff because it just you have that medication going through, and it gets what it's supposed to get, but then it attacks some healthy stuff. So that could have been some of the results of chemotherapy, um, drugs that and aging process and stuff like that. But we still, you know, if the
It's
family,
so tragic. I didn't follow him. Like, I didn't lend my ear to him. I didn't follow him. I only saw the snippets that were on, and I had opinions based on snippets. I can be honest and say that. So I wasn't a fan, but I know when he passed, it was like, oh my God, it's so tragic and so sudden. Regardless, he wasn't trying to kill anybody. Okay. And he had people that followed him and believe what he believed. And I just because I didn't mean, I was happy in his death, and just especially someone who's just kind of in the height of their career. I would say I didn't follow him, but I know that he was really becoming a household name. Um, it was very sudden. So I mean, it's still sad. The one thing I will say is people, let's just take care of ourselves. We are in our 40s. If you're not in your 40s, start taking care of yourself. If you out of your 40s, start taking care of yourself if you haven't. Because this is the only body that we have.
you can never start too early. Healthy lifestyles,
No, no.
food, exercise, and these are the best doctors you can ever have. Good sleep, water, diet, exercise.
Yep.
Those are the four best doctors that you can do for free.
Yep.
for free. It will keep you out of the actual doctor's office, keep you off of the operating table and stuff. And I know some people, they have things that just happen, they genetically, but if you do those things, whatever it is, it may not be as bad because
Right.
everything have a sliding scale.
Exactly. And we can't prevent every single thing, but there's a lot of things that we can. And a lot of the things that we experience is, honestly, it's because of the things that we put in our body and that
Hmm.
we don't do or we expose ourselves to. We're not getting enough sunlight. Sun is like the best
Oh my God,
medicine.
it
Get
is.
outside, walk. Like Renee said, that is free. Yeah. So we just have to take care of ourselves. Um, and then another unfortunate news, another sudden death. Miss Shanka Ducre, she actually is a Fiskite. That's school I went to from part of my alma mater. She passed earlier this week at the age of 44. Very sudden. This is interesting enough. It's not just Fisk news. It was on CNN. It's Nashville news. It's world news. She actually was in the new Elvis movie that came out earlier this month. She played Big Mama Thornton,
Mm.
sung the song Hound Dog, and that
Yes.
song that actually put Elvis on the map. And so she played that role. She actually had a song. She actually redid the song and is actually charting right now for the soundtrack. And she was on the single with um, what is her name? Doja Cat.
Hmm.
The song Vegas. Uh, so that's the voice you hear. And one thing I can say, not just because she was in the movie, honestly, Shaka was one of the sweetest people you could ever meet. She, I want to say, graduated before, like in '99, so I got there right at '99. But she was still a part of the community at Fisk because she was a music theater major, and so she really played a role in a lot of things that was happening in the theater even after graduation. And she did a lot of things at TSU, like all over Nashville. And she was just so sweet. She really was, and a beautiful voice. And when you heard her sing, when you heard her talk, you knew it was her. You didn't have to see her. You knew it was her. You know, so just keep her family, her girls. She left behind two small girls, and then her family in your prayers. Um, it was very tragic and sudden, and it's like on one side, happy that she was able to experience like this culmination of all the hard work, and she was got her flowers before her passing. But Lord,
It was
it
definitely
just leaves
a
the why.
career.
I mean,
Definitely.
everybody just knew this was like setting her career on fire. You know, even when talking about the Elvis movie, she was such a big part of even the producers, the directors' conversation. Like they were talking about her and her breakout role, and just because who she was, they're just talking about her when she was on the set. Because
Mm.
that's just who she was. She was gonna give y'all the love, the light, the sunshine. She just that's who she was. So, you know, it's sad and it hit everybody pretty hard,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, but what an impactful life. That's one thing I
Yes.
can say. Like I want to live that type of life. That when I'm gone, you know, people can reflect on what I've meant to them and what I maybe did for them, whether it was a smile, whether it was a conversation, whether it was encouragement. So blessings to her.
Yes, just keep her family in your prayers. Also, that's all a call to action, even with, as we said, premature death of Mr. Kevin Samuels. Check on your people. Call them. I've lived with a couple of times where it's like, oh, I'm gonna text them, and tomorrow never came.
Yeah.
And you know, if you do it, sometimes it's just like, hey, like seriously, just that one word where it's like, I did. You
I
know,
mean, honestly, it really calls. I know I was sending out texts like, I love you. People you haven't talked to, you want to get together. You just want to, like, I just want to touch you in some way because, like you say, time just goes and you're like, oh, I'm going to reach out. And then you never get that chance to reach out. And you want to be able to let people know, like, I make sure you know that I love you. I don't want to leave the earth, and I don't want you leaving the earth, not knowing that you know there's love there for you. So, it,
Exactly. Especially with on the heels of the major lockdowns and stuff too. We have been disconnected from physically disconnected from a lot of our people, and then you just kind of I think everybody kind of drew in. So now even if you're not outside, you're going to visit your people, call them, text them, do an old school text message, write them a letter. People love to get handwritten letters, cards, and stuff in the mail. But definitely check on your people, not just looking at them on Facebook like, oh, I know they're good because they posting. I didn't see what people that was posting earlier that day and it was gone that evening,
whew,
and that is 100% facts.
that is facts.
So
Well, speaking of someone who also left way too soon, um, Black Panther.
yeah.
Lord, what's the man name?
He was actually my fellow South Carolinian. His county, Anderson County, touches Greenwood County, so he was one of our own. One of our
Chadwick
own.
Boseman.
Yes,
Boseman.
yes.
He
He
was
was.
Chadwick Boseman. Well, he was gone too soon. And, the conversation was like, oh, there's no more Black Panther because he was a Black Panther. But, I recently thought about, let's go back to the announcement, that Black Panther 2 is coming out
The second movie Marvel is
November
doing it.
11th. And if you haven't seen the trailer,
Go
go
check
for
it
it.
out.
That trailer, you watch it chills. I have watched that trailer multiple times.
Yeah,
Multiple times. Because I'm also trying to figure out what happened. It's like, it's so like, it gives you a lot, but nothing too.
and I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a boy mom, so where I probably could have cared less about DC Comics, Marvel Comics, but if you have sons, guess what? You almost don't have any choice. But I literally enjoy that, and Marvel, since they've been making movies, they have only become better and better and better. So I already know this is going to be. I think it probably was exciting for them to top it as well. One, because Chadwick Boseman is there, and Stan Lee, he has passed since the first one as well,
Right.
which a lot of people thought like Stan Lee, he created Marvel. No, he was an employee of Marvel, but he had created hundreds of characters, but he secured his spot in his role
Mhm.
and stuff. But depending on when, yeah, he probably was already gone, so he probably wouldn't have had a cameo or anything like that in this particular movie. Um,
But
it's
Ryan
just
Coogler directed this one again.
okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's it's one of those like if you know the Marvel universe and keep up with the comics and stuff like that, some things you kind of already know. But just recapping from the first one, that was the highest gross movie ever in history, over $1 billion
Yep.
at the box office.
First of all, that's because we went out and saw the movie multiple times.
We did. We did, and I think when people they went to go see it, some people thought it was like the 1960s Black Panther Party, not Black Panther the comic. But for them to have it essentially a full black cast, and there was no white savior,
Right.
and it was just kind of like this is what would happen if you had left black people alone on the continent of Africa. I am still very much believe that had you left us alone, left us with our resources, that's what
Agree.
would have happened.
I agree. But I will say for Black Panther 2, I definitely think they're gonna beat out last time. That trailer, listen, that trailer looks so good.
And typically they come out with like 4 trailers. So guess what? That's just the first one that they drop.
Well, I didn't watch that first one at least 10 times, no exaggeration, because I'm trying to figure out what happens, right?
I
And
probably
they have a part where you see a birthing. So it's like, okay, is that the Black Panther or what happened? But at the very end, they have a part where they show just the body and the hand, so you know there's a new Black Panther, and it's like,
Yeah.
who is it? And what I was about to say before I forgot to talk about everything else was at one point I'm like, well, how can they have a Black Panther because he's no longer there? Are they just going to replace him? But if you think about the story, his dad was a
It
Black
was the
Panther.
Black Panther. So it's just
So it
kind of
doesn't necessarily have to be with one person. So it makes sense that it does move to someone else. Now, what's interesting is probably it's going to be his offspring
probably
because
so.
he had gotten married, or I think at least inferred that they were getting married. So we'll see.
Probably so. It could be that. Um, Also, it could be a fast forward in time. Because think about just kind of a play on that when they did Independence Day 2. It really wasn't a reason that Will Smith couldn't have been in the movie. However, it was just like things happened with him. Now it's his son. And it
Mhm,
still was a very well made movie. So I think they will still be able to honor his legacy and still do a good job
mhm.
with that. And we have to remember, yes, he brought that character to life.
Yeah,
However, he was not that character. He was Chadwick Boseman, just the bomb.com type of
right,
actor. Just
absolutely.
he was definitely, as I say, you had the Sidney Poitier, and then you had Denzel, and then you had Chadwick Boseman. So it's like, okay, now for everybody else, it's like, okay, who's next in line? Because we don't just need one; we need multiple of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Because
there
it's
and there's
someone.
out there. It's like they need to get their chance because unfortunately, it's almost like you only can have a certain amount of Black great actors out at one time. There's plenty of I know for a fact that there are plenty great Black actors that are out and they are out trying to do their thing. But as far as what's being pushed, uh,
Hmm.
yeah. Well,
Look forward to it. I'm gonna try to go see the IMAX with the where they move the chairs and all this other kind of.
listen,
It's expensive, but it's a full
I'm
experience.
going to find my outfit. Let me tell you, the first
Oh,
time I did not wear an outfit, but this time I will have an outfit. I'm ready. I am so excited. We're gonna probably have to do pre-sale tickets because you know if you do not have a
oh,
pre-sale ticket,
Myochi,
you
you
not
know what we need to do? We need to go live. Like I need to come there. You need to come here. One of the
we
two.
ain't
But
go live in a movie. They're gonna put us
no,
out.
like leading up to us getting
Oh.
ready, and then when we get out, girl, they ain't finna have me in jail trying to do the old school bootleg. No.
And listen, I like to watch my movies in silence. I don't like all that talking and well, that's a lie because I just went to the movies last week and I was kept leaning over talking about, but I had things I didn't want to forget. Okay, so but I don't do a lot of like talking in the movies. Anyway, that's not the point. Yeah, we
Well,
gotta
yeah, let's
our
make that a
pre-sales.
date. The 40 spot will come to you. We gonna be in full regalia. We need to start getting our outfits together now because we coming up in there. I wish my body looked like,
We
off
got
of
your December
American.
girl, December 11th, not December, November 11th that is coming out.
Oh, Frenette, she
So
said it. She said this can be a 40 spot event.
it can. We could just have
I,
like who wants to come kick it with us, or maybe go eat before. You know, we always gotta have a little food or something in there. Eat before or after, have
yeah,
a meetup and where we just go
yeah.
see the movie, you know.
I
Very
think
I
that's a
am
great
excited.
idea. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do that. May not be on the because opening weekend is crazy, so you might not. So even if it had to be the weekend after, it's still
And even opening, you have to get your pre-sale tickets, so we don't have
yeah,
to, plan it. It's not impossible for us to get these pre-sale tickets and plan. And maybe, just maybe, we might have a boo. Transition to the topic for tonight. Yeah,
ah,
kiss in the dating pool, part two, right?
part two.
So
The number
what
two. That's what's in the dating pool. The number
the
two.
number two. But listen, one thing we have to do is remain positive because
Yeah,
nothing will happen if you're not positive. Nothing will happen if you say, "Oh, this is what we have to deal with. It's crap." Guess what? All we're gonna continue to deal with is crap. So now the goal is maybe we need to find a new pool. Maybe you need to find a new place to hang out
yeah,
to
yeah.
get some moisture.
Ugh.
I don't know. I know when I say it, I was like, moisture? I don't
Well,
But
that's
no,
good.
so if there's piss in a dating pool, go to another dating pool. But so the first question kind of is like, okay, so how are people meeting people? We talked about
Yeah.
some problems that last time we talked about problems that we saw in relationships, specifically the dynamic with black men and
Mhm.
women. But once you get past all of that, you still have to meet these people, right? So
Yeah.
how are people meeting? So there's a survey. And it says that 39% of people meet through friends, 15% meet at work, 12% of people meet at bars and just public areas. 9% meet at like community things, where it's like things you have hobbies like sports, religion events, hobby events. So like if you're into like Comic Con, you meet people there because that's something you're into. You go to these type of events, and then it said surprisingly, 8% of people meet on the internet and dating apps, and then 7% through family, 6% through school, and then 1% through speed dating. I found that interesting that's even included, but 1% through speed dating. So, Renee, which one of these percentage do you think you'll fall in, or how you've met people?
Like most often, I
Hmm.
was after being an adult. I would say it's more work, but a couple of work in school. I'll say that. That's probably been like probably from 20 to probably 30, 35. It's been places that I'm at a lot.
Hmm.
So but I have did online dating plenty of times. And I know some people are like, oh, you meet crazy people online. Guess what? Let me tell you, crazy people was already out there before the internet was
Correct.
even invented.
Exactly.
Ask your grandmama and your granddaddy and them. And if they haven't met anybody crazy, guess what? They was the crazy one that everybody met. But yeah, so I've done that because sometimes um where some places where I work, it was just a small group of us, and it wasn't a lot of exflux of new employees and stuff. So it was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna just meet people
Right.
outside of that. And I've met some wonderful people that had good relationships with. They ended in some. It wasn't like bad breakups or whatever like that. Um, but I would definitely say more so work and school related. That's probably where I would fall into.
So I would say mine has been school, but school more college that lingered into young adulthood and then middle age, like people I knew from school. And
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
counting school how I know people. Um, Definitely online. I haven't really been majorly successful. Well, Lord, child, how do you measure success? My last relationship, which was pretty good, we met online, and that was the first relationship that I would consider a successful relationship. Meeting someone online who were mutual, we compatible, and it went further than text messages. That is the one thing that gets me, and I realize it's not something that just happens online, but I think because a lot of times you meet people through an app, so people are really, excuse the pun, apt to only want to talk. Like, hey, how you doing? Like, it's like, okay, so when are we gonna meet up? Because this texting is not working for me.
Right.
You found a lot of people that don't like to talk on the phone, which is kind of weird to me, especially as I got older. How can we get to know each other? I know, but the thing is, I know women who don't like to talk on the phone. But
But
for
it's like
me,
at some point we need to be able to communicate. And
correct,
I would say for me, because I've ran into that on dating sites where you're not finna, hey, how you doing me to death. Now that's just number one. Like I'm good for about five of them. After that, I'm gonna try to strike up a conversation because I do realize that some people are on there because they do have a hard time approaching people in person.
right,
but this is the way that they can, and they can kind of break the ice, and they feel a little bit better level of comfort
But they
with.
also bring that insecurity online as well. So because,
Yeah,
if you're afraid to talk to women or you're afraid to talk to men, you bring that in because once you've met the person, once they swipe right and you guys are connected, now you still have to communicate. And so if you don't know how to socialize, you're bringing that anywhere. I know people who met online Tinder, which I thought Tinder was just like a hookup app, and people I met on Tinder and are married, have children.
yes,
So I think, you know, online dating gets a bad rep. I'm like, oh, you
yeah.
must be desperate to do that. But it's like, no, you want to meet someone. It's just a new way of dating. But I've never met anyone through family. Ever, 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 ever. There's never been
I ever met
anyone
anyone
in
before?
my family who said, oh, I know this forever. Friends, I want to say there have been a couple, but it really didn't go any further than maybe talking to one time through family. I just thought about it. And it was like my mom's friend's uh nephew.
Okay.
Right. And I mean, honestly, we're still cool, but it never went any further.
Okay, I'm
Um,
trying to think. Maybe when I was like much younger, like late teens and stuff like that. Like it might have been one of my cousins, one of their homeboys or something. Like, who is that? That's your cousin. Hook me up. It's like my boy. He want to talk to you. You
Now,
know that type of thing. Um.
Fernette says meeting people at work, nah. And I get that because the only thing about meeting somebody at work is like if we work together,
I
especially
don't
if
like
you
this.
work together, I don't want to see you all the time. I
Not
don't. And
okay.
if what if we
I
break up, then I still have to see you.
I want to say this. I used to date this guy that I worked with.
Hmm.
When you're mad, you don't stop being mad at work. So it can definitely interfere with your work. Um, Now let's say like if you work at a large hospital, like I do, we can work for the same employer, but we don't work in the same department. We don't work on the
Right.
same shift.
Hmm.
I don't see you. That type of stuff is fine because there are people who I work with. They are married to people. There's a lot of people actually, now to think of it, that works there and their spouse works there,
But
and
not like in the same
they
department.
are not in the same department. And one of my coworkers, she married someone there, and we're all under the umbrella of still within it is different departments, so they still not working with one another. And I think it's still enough of that separation. But back in the day, me and this guy, we used to go together, and we worked. It was like the same shift and everything, and it was just like you just mad. He was a little bit crazy too, and you know it interfered. Also, I remember one time when I was in college, like my college sweetheart or whatever, we why would we set our whole schedules up together? Just about
Because y'all was stupid.
we was, and we both all because when I ain't doing good, it was just like whoever can make it to this classroom is first. Is like he went through the front. Those turn it. Now I gotta make it class, and then you outside the door like, hey, let me see your notes afterwards because it's just like I didn't even want to be in your space, and it was always something. So I definitely think I can work with a person if we're not working together in the same department or whatever. But I'm not close to meeting someone at work, but we ain't working together because I definitely need that break from.
Right. And I mean, not even for arguing sake, just like, I mean, everyone has their own autonomy. So how do you have it if I see you all the time at home and then I see you at work? Like, when do we have our space? Because a lot of times you develop friendships with the people you're at work too. So it's like everybody in this big pot of the
Yes.
circle. So I think you definitely need space. Fernette said there are people who have spouses that work with them and still trying to hook up with other coworkers. Child, that's
Yeah.
somebody high tea. And I don't even understand why people do that. Like that is
Like you ain't gonna
wild
get
to
found
me.
out. Like
Somebody's gonna get mad and somebody's gonna tell the story. Okay. Now, Renee also says sometimes meeting people through family is questionable. I will agree because listen, the one
Maybe it
time,
depends on what family member is presenting it.
yes, because and it also depends on like how close are you to the family, right? So because people are gonna be checking up, how's everything going, and then like you can't tell
They
them
in your
they
business.
suck, like
Yeah.
or in one scenario, I was like, I think he's gay, like I don't know how
Or,
to tell you that,
or is
like
it like you trying to hook me up with this guy? Let's say like it's my cousin. You trying to hook me up with this guy because you go with his friends, so you really want me to talk to him to try to get information. I'm not.
like I don't want to
I
be
will
in that
definitely do
mess pool.
investigation. I will, but I'm not doing investigation that way. Because as I say, I'm a cold cracker. I help you crack the code. Get his phone, girl. We go get in it. And then you got all
Exactly.
this stuff, but I ain't got to talk to his cousin just so that you can get other information. No.
It's
So
interesting. I think a lot of people don't. That's the reason why a lot of people sometimes don't want to hook people up with people they know because they don't want to be responsible, right? Because it's like, I mean, you're cool, but I don't know how you're gonna be with this person, and I don't want to be responsible for the hurt, you know. But I've never had a friend to really like. I'm thinking, I've never had a friend to hook me up. All my friends think,
I had you hook me up one time with this guy. Do you remember? The little boy that looked like Elder Boy.
"Ooh,
I can't think of his name.
oh my god,
You had invited me to one of your friends that was having a game night. And I ended up going, and it was the guy. He was there. He really did look like Elder Barge. What was his name? I can't
but
think
did
of his name.
I hook you up, or did you meet him at this party?"
I met him at
That's
this.
not a hookup. That's like you came
But
and you
he
met
asked
somebody.
you about me, and I had asked you about it. So you was the middle person or whatever. And I remember me and him. We had went out like to a bar or something.
Girl,
Just
I
to
can't remember. Oh
girl.
no. Dang it.
See, and that's why you don't want your friends hooking up because they forget stuff.
I
But
don't
you
remember.
still,
So whatever happened, I'm sorry.
girl, let me tell you. So, you sitting up there, we laughing, we talking. It's like, I don't drink. So he was like, you sure you don't want to drink? You just don't want to drink because you don't want to get loose. And I was like, nah, I don't drink. Like, period. Like, if it's something I'm going to do it. And I remember he was just like, so what's your personality type? And I was like, well, I'm just the type of person kind of go with the flow, just easy breezy. All he heard was easy. And that whole conversation, man, when we took that left turn, we flipped that doggone car over. And I remember I telling you, he was like, are you serious? He was
I
like,
do not
I'm
remember.
not
Oh my
remember.
God.
He was real light skinned. He looked just like one of the elder boys. What was
Maybe
his name?
he wasn't my friend. I can't
He
even.
was. You knew. You knew everybody was there. I didn't know nobody was there. You just said I was your plus one. See, that's what happened when you always plus one with your girl.
I don't remember. I do
Girl.
not
But I will
remember.
say this, like, and I know people probably know it's like, oh, you got a different background. I'm here. My best friend, she had to come in town. One of them for a work conference this week, and she and I we end up dating best friends at one time.
Okay.
Oh, she is over there. She is crying, laughing right there. She was just like, oh my God. So you got the guys talking and the girls talking, but it's like you still kind of sworn to secret. Okay, sworn to secrecy and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, when it's all over, and it's like, well, why you ain't tell me that? Well, her boyfriend's like, he had told me don't tell nobody, all this other kind of stuff. So that was like the only time like that happened. I remember one time I talked to her cousin. We had went to the beach. And I was just like, oh, that's your cousin. She was like, girl, go ahead and talk to him. Just like, girl, why did you not stop? Like, you knew your cousin. So, but guess
You
what?
ain't never dated her cousin. She didn't know how he was.
She did. She did. She
Oh,
did. Maybe it was something I had said. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get her ass back. You know, somebody said.
oh my God.
But
I'm still
yes,
trying to think of Elder Barge.
you can just not bring. That was I knew better when they said don't bring sand from the beach, and I brought sand 2 pockets full of it straight on back, and you don't know how many grains of sand is in 2 pockets full of sand. Trying to get rid of it and stuff like that. But yeah,
You ever met somebody out of town and then like kept up with them?
um, like we still friends and stuff to this day.
Like dated for a little bit or something like that?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't like long distance relationships.
Mhm.
Because relationships, in my opinion, they're a lot of work, and then to put the distance on top of that. Now, I'm not. To me, if you 1 hour away, that's that is long distance, but that ain't long distance like you in a different state. You 3 hours.
Like
I got to
confident.
plan for you to be there, and so because the times that I have done it, it's like you in a relationship, but you really not, because it's like it's certain things. The communication definitely has to be on point,
Mhm.
but the other aspects of the relationship, the going out, the dating, just the daily interaction, you know, you don't have that. So when you do come together, it's it's very, very happy because you are happy to be around that person and in their face and stuff like that. But sometimes it's like, I ain't never seen you when you mad.
Yeah.
Like you don't call me because people on your job don't piss you off or something that happened in your family or whatever, but I don't see those emotions. I don't feel that energy and vibe from you. I don't see that vibe like every day. Like, oh, okay, you know, you don't piss me off because you stay late. I'm always up here waiting on you 20, 30 minutes. Like you don't
Well,
see.
you can get that from somebody who long distance because when they in town, they gonna be the same person. I've dated long distance. That is not my preference. One would think it is because it happens quite often for me. I don't mind it so much, which I was actually just talking to one of my work friends about it. And I asked him, I was like, why do you think I keep dating people that not? And he was like, because you don't want to be bothered. You like your space. Like, maybe that is it. I never thought about it like that because I am definitely not like anti long distance. It's not my preference, but I don't shy away from it. And maybe it is. I like my space. I deal with you when you're here and when you're not here. I go about my business. I don't know, but
But maybe that's a subconscious thing
I
because
know
just
somebody gotta.
knowing our friendships, times where we was dealing with people that wasn't in the same city or different things like that, or it wasn't per se your boyfriend, but this is somebody who you definitely take a strong interest, but they may not be in the same state. There was always conversation like, it would be nice to have someone here,
Right,
so that I can see them more on a regular. I can get my dates in. Today I might just been a hard day. I want to
right.
hold.
I just want to be consistent.
Yeah.
Maybe in another lifetime, child. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. But besides long distance and besides online dating, one point they made about is going out to bars, go places where people are.
Mm.
And I think that is important. Like what we do know is someone's not gonna just show up at your door. I mean, the Amazon man might or girl, whoever you're trying to date. They might show up at your door, but half the time they ring the bell and they gone anyway by the time you get
Exactly.
your bag.
If
So
not, if you like my sister, the Amazon people come, like you see them on your ring. It's like, oh, my package here. Like you just ready to get
you
your
didn't even see
package.
the
You ain't
people. You
thinking
saw the
about
package,
it.
not the people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or I remember when I was in Nashville, there was a story. It was a news reporter who had recently got engaged, and I guess she was getting married actually, and so they kind of did a little spotlight on it because she met her fiance. He pulled her over. He pulled her over. She got a ticket, and they started dating. So but outside of those, people are not just gonna show up and fall out the sky. So I think, that this one important thing about it is what are we doing to get out there? what are we doing to mix up our dating pool? I tried like a year ago, child. A year ago, I was like, okay, where's a place I can go and maybe sit at a bar? Because I think that's important. Because a lot of times, if people go out, I want to date myself. I'm gonna sit at a table. A lot of people won't bother you if you're sitting at a table. They won't come up to you. Some people will, but a lot of times it looks like you are to yourself. It looks like you are enjoying your own company. She wants
Or
to,
you waiting on someone else
or
to
you
come.
exactly. You're waiting on someone. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find a nice place I can go to and frequent and just sit at the bar, get a drink, maybe have something to eat, and you frequent it because most people frequent places, and you may see the same person over there. They may see you. You may lock eyes, and then you meet someone. So I had a plan for that, but that fell through. I went once,
Okay.
didn't go back. No, well, I went back because I met somebody online, and then we met there. That's when you came.
Oh,
You was my plus one that time too. Remember, he brought a friend, and we went to the
oh,
movie theater.
oh my God. And I was so sleepy. I was not that. I could.
But you was a
I
good
could.
sport.
I
You
could
were a
not.
really good sport. But
And
I say that to say, I feel like that was a good plan. But had I like kept going, you be like cheers, cheers. No, but they didn't say cheers when you walked in. When you walked in, they said your name,
yeah,
right? Everybody
Cheers
knows
was the
your
name of the show.
name.
Cheers
Cheers is
was
the
the
name
name
of the
of the
show.
bar where everybody know your name.
Exactly. And so I think that is a good idea. And if it's not a bar, frequenting places, going to the gym and kind of, if you meet someone at the gym, you're not going to meet someone at the gym and you get on the treadmill and leave. It's going to take interaction, talking to people, flirting or just talking. Like, be
Oh
a,
my
a,
God.
a normal person and just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be, oh, you look so good lifting those weights, big boy. I mean, you don't have to say that. I
Oh my,
mean, you can. You can. Like, oh my God, how heavy is that? Oh my, how long have you been able to lift so much? How much can you lift?
this is the
You
thing.
lift me.
When I go to the gym, one, the way me and the gym been going as of right now, it's almost an act of God for me to go. But I remember when when I first started going, it was this older man. He was trying to tell me I was doing my stuff wrong. But like he wasn't trying to hit on nobody. Like this man, he was in his 60s. I'm telling you, like but he still looked nice in his face. But his body, he put any 20-year-old a run for their money, honey.
Mhm.
Man was cut and ripped. But I remember one day I was leaving out and stuff, and I always was like, once I get to my goal weight, I'm all nice trim. Then that's when I'm gonna get these nice little tops and bottoms with the matching shoes. Like right now, I'm coming in here and I'm giving y'all these old school basketball shorts. My son that got too little and a dingy shirt. Like I ain't even trying to look cute because I don't feel cute. Like I'm in here to kill fat cells. But
Right.
I remember this guy, he came up to my window, almost scared me to death. Knocked on the window. He was like, "Oh, I noticed you," or whatever like that. And I was like, "Okay." I'm still not thinking. I was like, because I done got off work. I done worked all night. I'm here at the gym. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. Now I'm hungry. I'm ready to go home. And, I'm thinking, like, did I leave something or whatever? And he was just like, "You come here often, same old, same old." Exchanged numbers, had two good conversations. I guess that's all he had in him. And after that, he just was MIA. And sometimes you have to be careful about those people too. Some people, they will, because before I moved from Chicago, I had a boyfriend. And I always say, like, he had maybe about a month and a half of good conversations in him, but he gave them all to me in 2 weeks because it was just like, the stuff that he knew, it was like I really was attracted to his mind and everything like that. But it was just like after that, it was like, where's this person in? Because it
Mhm.
was just like different music and stuff. He was like, "Oh, you want to check this group out, whatever, like that." And I'm, kind of like these indie black bands, but then they got a little rap or whatever. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is nice. This is something that I was not exposed to." So you got to be careful when you do meet people. They give the best that they got right at the beginning, and it's down here from there. And I'm
Giving
talking
the
about
best they got, like Anita Baker, huh?
yes,
And I
and
mean, the
really
reality
free
is,
fall.
you can meet these people anywhere, at the bar, at church, at the
Yes,
gym,
online.
online. It's all about chemistry. It's all about, do we work together and what you need, because everybody's different. So you and I, we talk. Like, we are talkers, honey. If I'm
Yes,
talking, if you're not talking, I'm talking. One of us gonna be talking.
exactly,
It's
exactly.
just, it is what it is. And because I'm a talker, I need somebody who will talk back at some
Yeah,
point. Now I can do silence, especially in the morning when I wake up in the morning. I don't need you talking to me. I've been talking. I talked all day the day before, so I rest.
I'm
I got
still resting
look
my vote.
when I get going, honey. I can go, but you know, I need somebody who can talk. Like, that is important to me, because if
Yeah,
not, I'm like, well, all right, then I'm getting off the phone, because I don't want to sit and hold the phone and hear you breathe. Like,
and
used to do
substance
that when we was
of comedy.
13. That was cute, I guess. It's not cute no more. We are grown and we have things to do. I don't have
And
time to
some of
sit on
that
the
when you
phone
were
with you.
13, you ain't had nothing to talk about either. So all
No,
you
but
did,
I said it was cute. Like, oh, we hung on the phone, we fell asleep. No, I like, and we are older, we have jobs, we have responsibilities. So I could be up all night talking to you. That whole, oh my God, we were up for hours just talking about everything. I can totally do that. But I cannot just be on the phone with you and you're saying nothing. We have lost things to talk about. We dead air. It is time to get off the phone, because I can, number one, go to sleep. Number one, I can go to sleep. Okay. Number two, I'm more than sure there's other things I could be doing that I probably don't want to do, but other responsibilities that I could be taking care of. Like, I need
absolutely.
communication, but some people don't like that, like I said before, and that's probably why some people only like to text, because they can't keep the communication going. And with text, you can get back to it whenever. You can walk away. Woo, woo.
Hmm.
Again, I don't have a problem with texting, but you don't get tone. You don't really get people's,
There's a
communication
lot of
style, their
miscommunication
humor.
through
You don't
texting.
really get that just with text. Like, at some point, we have to stop texting.
Yes, and then there's too much miscommunication with texting, and already you have so many people out here um that don't know how to communicate well. So the last thing they need to do is to be texting back and forth, because the intent, punctuation matters.
And
On
some
the
people don't ask questions. Some people don't ask questions like, what you mean by that? Some people just, you say something and they just leave. And so however they took it is how they took it. And then you
Yeah.
turn out later like, oh, I was just joking. And they completely took it as a literal statement, right? And it's just, it
It's,
just caused confusion for me. For me, there's a
yeah.
personal preference. Call me, pick up the phone. Hello, how are you? Yeah.
And I'll say this when you say it, like the person is like, "Oh, I was joking," because I do like to crack jokes. I love to laugh. I love to laugh. It don't take much for me to laugh. However, when I first do meet a person, I try not to make jokes because I don't know them well enough to, one, are you going to get what I'm saying? If it's something like that, it could be something that they may find offensive. So I think, some things may just come up and it's just funny the way you said something, but just like I'm intentionally just trying to make a joke
Right.
out of everything
And
just to
again, it's the way
out of
you said it, because if it's via text, you can't, so no one can feel your humor through text. So
right.
I'm gonna read it in a way that I'm gonna take it, because we are not having good actual conversation.
But even face to face, I
I
try
don't
to
know you yet.
mindset too.
But if you think about it, a lot of times after you've known someone and you talk to them, they can send you a text. They can send you just an emoji and you bust out laughing, because you know exactly what they're talking about. So
Absolutely.
having conversations and communication, it is important. Face to face conversation, and sometimes the phone. Let me tell you this. Sometimes the phone is too much. Sometimes, like, you don't have nothing to talk about, because
Yeah.
we've talked about everything at this point. So that's the importance of face to face, because just being able to be in each other's presence and not being tired, like, oh, you getting on my nerves. I
And
gotta.
sometimes doing things that doesn't require talking, like going to the movies, watching television shows, watching the news, because to be honest with you, those things are very important, because if you talk about what's happening whatever you watching, it gives you an insight of how that person thinks and views, because a lot of movies and stuff, they have different social undertones to them, or it may be something that's there and it's, it's kind of one of this art mimic life or life mimic art, one of the two. But
Mhm.
it gives you the insight to say like, oh, okay, wait a minute, how do you feel about this? Because you can have now with everything that's happening, you know, what is they how do they feel politically? A
Right.
lot of people, they don't ask people what their political affiliation, but during, the last presidential election, a lot of families and stuff was torn to shreds, when they start realizing like, hey, this is how you feel about these things, and it's going on so much. And I think there's a lot of conversations that is essential to who a person is, their core being is not being spoken about, it's
Right.
not being talked about. It's good to have these dialogues, but because people have skirted around them, they really don't know how to have effective dialogues without getting mad and, almost the physical fighting, and to the point where they wash their hands and they done with the people. Where I can agree to disagree. Just because you don't like what I like, that doesn't mean for the 99 other things that I love and like about you, that one thing, like, that got to be a something very, 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 very serious for it to be
Right.
one thing
Exactly.
that tops everything else for me not to feel.
So, where do you think we are in a, I want to say post pandemic? We are still very much in a we're very much still in a pandemic, but um are we really outside? Like, we everybody's like, we outside, but I talk to people who are trying to do more things outside now, still being very conscious of the virus and things that are going on. We talked earlier about these new things happening, but where are we when it comes to dating? Because I feel like that added a new component to dating because it was always about safety, especially for women. But I think men are even now really thinking about it because, like I said, my coworker, when we talk about it, he's like, I want to go out this weekend, but I was like, nah, because he spent so much time inside for the last year or 2 years. He always is like, I don't know if I want to go to the bar, or they tell me about things. He's actually in Houston, Texas, and so it's just interesting. You meet new people and you're cautious about being in their space, not even for safety in the sense of, are they going to try to jump me? Are they going to try to rob me? Safety is that I don't really know how you are on your day to day. So I don't want to get nothing from you. Just being in your presence, just breathing in the same air with you, So even that now is such a big thing for a lot of people now, keeping those things in mind, especially with people we're trying to meet new people, we're trying to go to a different dating pool. uh but I'm cautious because I don't know how you live your life. Do you wear your mask? Do you wash your hands? Do you do whatever? Like, are you at least conscious, of these things? Are you just living your life like, I just
Or
want to
now,
do?
do you not believe that it's real? Like, where are you standing at? I think all of those things are very much real, and I think sometimes some people, they probably may not even know where they're at, because one thing that COVID did for the people that was road runners, it stopped them. Well, some people, they didn't need, they should have been and came on and set it down, and then some
Mhm.
people, that was the break that they needed. you know it depending on some people, their financial situation, it's just not going to afford them to go out there, and people have been able to reprioritize. And so I think you're going to have that pool of people that, you know oh, I'm out and I'm just meeting people left and right, and this go for males and females. I'm just out here just meeting people, and I'm just casually dating or whatever. That put a halt to that, because a lot of places, one, it was shut down. Two, where you're going to meet people, because a lot of places, it would you can only have a certain amount of people in these places. So sometimes, like, I ain't even finna go, because it ain't no guarantee that I'm gonna be able to get in, because they only, operating 30% capacity. So I think that has pulled a lot of people back inside that potentially may be out to go visit and think outside. Um, and maybe now because they've been inside, they're only going to essential places. Like I ain't going to no club. I'm not going
Right.
to the typical places that you may meet people.
And
And
I think too, being inside, and being quarantined and just being really conscious of going out, you know, I think even for people who are not necessarily concerned about safety, you just kind of get used to not going.
yeah,
And
you
once
save
you get
that
used to
money,
it, it's just like, I'm
all
good. Like,
you have a new routine now, and
correct.
that routine does not include all that. Then sometimes you just go out, and some people may go out and it just don't feel the same because it's been such a break. Maybe they feel like they're older now,
Get grown.
or like this is just a waste of time. I didn't want to come out. They have become to enjoy being at home. And like you said, people there are a lot of people that still take these viruses and stuff very, very serious. They're taking their health very, very serious. So if you're like that, you're definitely going to be just more health conscious of meeting a person, and having them over, we over here, we talking over food, and you know
I
no.
always like I'm trying to open myself up a little bit more to just being out. Like I was leaving work on Friday and a group of people was like, "Oh, we're gonna go have lunch," and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. It was like three other people that I wear my mask the majority of the time there. Um Unless when I'm with clients, stuff like that. Well, even with clients, I wear my mask because I'm just very cautious of it, especially with because they had the influx of COVID or whatever. But anywho,
Hmm.
so I decided to go because I don't want to live in fear, and I don't want to always just my default is just to go home because the
Mm.
reality is like that. I feel like that's where I am. I
Oh.
am in a place of no, I'm good. Hang out with a few people that I know, and then that's it.
Hmm.
But there's more to life, and I don't want to live in fear, and I want to be cautious. But the reality is, even when we're at lunch, in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I hope everything's fine.
Right, because they breathing
So,
over my food, even though they're across the table. Like we
exactly,
know, we know the motion of air out of people's mouth and nose now. So I
exactly.
definitely, I definitely get it. But I think people will value um going out and meeting a person. I think now, and I'm just speculating, but this is just from my own personal perspective, that if you do meet someone, because guess what? It's hard to meet people because everybody that once was out there, they ain't out there like that no more.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, that off time and people have grown and they're just different. Erica said, "I'm inside, not even out of fear. It's just who I am." And it's like, if that was who you were before, now you're really like, I'm good. I can stay right here.
right. Exactly. But I definitely think like if you do meet someone, and you met them while you're out and stuff, you value that. And then I think it's more like I want this to make this work because me meeting people just by happenstance, that's people, they definitely is very I'm in, I'm out, they already know what they're going to do, because that's kind of how we've been conditioned for the last 2 years. You get in and you get out, get your stuff and
Right.
go, get your stuff and go. So people, they have their blinders on, they focus on what they went in to do. Let's just say like it's Walmart, grocery store, because you can always meet people at those places. But I don't think all of that lingering around and stuff is happening now. So if you do go somewhere to a bar and you meet somebody, I think it's kind of like you more apt to really try to get to know them, because it's like I may not meet nobody else because I know I ain't finna go back outside. Like this was just look. I just so happened just had a little itch, and I was like, let me just step out just for an hour or two, and
Right.
then I'm going on. I'm
But you,
back.
but you hope that's true for the other person too, because the person you meet might just be a person who's always outside. So
Yeah.
it's not even a guarantee that they find it to be um like, oh good, let's try to see if this can work out because I don't have to meet any other people.
Yeah, and then maybe you find somebody who is just like, okay, I used to go out all the time, but 2020 happened, and now I really do be more inside. So it's like, oh, okay, now you figure out more stuff to do inside, or you do things that's not so as being amongst the public. You may be out and about, but you just not amongst large crowds or groups of people or doing indoor
I miss
function.
going to the club. Like I'm not a clubber per se. I'm not a clubber. I ain't even say per se. I'm not a clubber. Like I don't be like, oh, I'm going to the club every weekend. But
I used
like
to be. I
I
miss them days.
enjoy, huh?
I said I used to be. I miss them days.
Oh, I did it in college, but like I like going like when we went to the weekend. So it was like a lounge. You go have fun and music. That's what I miss. So that's what I miss. But if I walked in a place like that right now, I would probably hyperventilate. Like for real.
Like, oh my God,
Even
everybody
like
showed
when
on
I
their
came
shoulders.
there, we went to the weekend, and I think was this pre-pandemic? This is after the pandemic. This is definitely after the pandemic.
What's up here after the
It
pandemic?
was, and because we went with, I had a couple friends, and we were out on the patio. We were on a patio.
What's that after the pandemic?
It was after the
Have you been
pandemic for
up here
sure.
since the pandemic?
I'm positive it was after the pandemic. It was definitely after the pandemic
Oh,
because
okay.
we went out to a restaurant. They had those Brussels sprouts that was bomb, 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 and they were like and
That
then
was before. That was before.
it was after. It was after the pandemic. I'm thinking of certain events that lets me know for sure it was after the pandemic.
Okay. Okay.
You
All
think it
right.
was before? Maybe I'm miscalculating. Anywho, I remember if I went to the weekend right now or any place like that, I would hyperventilate. Like I would walk in there and just feel everybody' breath going into me.
Ah, I know that's right. Like y'all
I
ain't
want to go though.
had
Like
y'all
the thing
breath
is, I
out.
really want to go. I need to get somewhere to have me some Afro beats. Um, I need to dance. You know what I'm saying? A little drink, some bang bang shrimp. Like, but I would have prevented. Like, I don't know what I need to do. Suggestions. What should I do to be comfortable to go and have fun? Erica asked me, Erica, I have no idea what event I'm thinking about. Oh, well, I know what event I'm thinking about, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't divulge that. It ain't my business to share.
Okay. Okay.
But listen, like,
Trust me, I understand. Like, it really have you to the point because I've been wanting to go to the mall, right,
mhm,
for a couple of weeks now, and just to walk around. It's not nothing in particular that I need to purchase. It's not nothing in particular that I'm looking for, because
mhm,
it's like where am I with to? Because I literally have probably like 75 things in my Amazon cart, clothes to go to places that I'm not going.
mhm.
When it comes down to it, like I'm sleepy, I'm tired, I'm not gonna go, or it's just there. But it's still one of those things like, oh, I just want to go to the mall and walk around, but it's like I know nobody in there but me go have my mask on. And it is one of those things like I'm walking through air that has been in people's lungs and come out.
They just raw dog in air. They just be like,
Like I said, get away from me, all you mouth breathers and deep breathing. And I'm just,
I just
oh,
need some more patios. Maybe if I can find a spot that have patios, rooftops. I need a rooftop party. I think that would help me. A
now
rooftop situation.
I went to First Friday event. I guess it was 2 months ago. Like it was in May because it
Mhm,
wasn't in June. Definitely not this month. So it was in May. I went and it was a rooftop. Now half of it was inside, half of it was outside. So it was like okay, walking up through it was at Hard Rock Cafe. It was a 30 and up event. Up to the roof, outside, and we on the back wall. So it's just like oh okay, I felt more safer with all of the added God had given us outside, and there was a wind Jesus was in a southward wind.
You know, and so here's the thing, like, because we're talking about dating, right? So we go out and we go to these places to the rooftop, and I'm imagining someone getting close to talk to me, and I'm gonna be like this, moving from,
Yeah,
like,
I think
seriously, like when people, I feel people can be, because people, just in general, like when they talk to you, they seem to get closer to you, and I literally feel like as they come in, I'm backing up. I mean, I don't think
because
I
I
could
believe
be
in that
taken
6 feet.
well.
I believe in that 6 feet. If not, definitely beyond my 3 feet of personal space. If you ain't
Yeah.
6 feet, I need you between 4 and 6 feet.
But what does that communicate to somebody who you're trying to talk to or who you're trying to talk to?
Exactly, that you don't want to be bothered, and that you don't want to be
So I
close
don't know.
because one, if you at a rooftop event, the music is going to be loud. Other people is going to be talking, so they, in all actuality, they need to be close to you, to your ear, so they can hear you what's being said. And it's one of those things where 2020 has forever changed everything.
Yeah,
Everything. I don't know what can be done at this point because, as I say, some people didn't went inside and they ain't coming back out
very true.
because you done scared them to death. And then you have other people, the way they, if they going out, they moving differently. So I guess at
Definitely.
this point, it's probably is safer to meet as many people as you want to be online, but you need to be intentional, as we said before. Be intentional. Say what it is that you want. Like these dating apps and stuff, they make it okay that, guess what, you can find other people who want exactly what you want. They have those filters, but some people, they click everything because they just casting a wide net, and somebody, it's like they click everything because they have no idea. So it's
Yeah,
all
yeah, and
about.
I think that's definitely, honey, you said know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, be honest and say, I really don't know what I want right now. I know I want to have fun. I know I want, but I don't know if I want a commitment. I don't know if I just want to, like, be honest at the least, because you lying to people trying to tell them what you think they want. Either, people lying and say, nah, I just want something casual, but really you want something serious. And so you get mad when it's still casual. Or you want
Right.
casual, but the person you're talking to wants something serious, so you lie like, yeah, that could happen. Like, just be honest about what you want, because I think meeting people right now is hard.
Yes.
Honestly, the stories that I've heard, males and female, no matter your sexual orientation, it is hard. Depending on what you're looking for, it's hard. Now, a hookup you can always find, child. You throw caution to the wind, you can find some peen and um
Pool.
some pool.
Pools.
Oh, I was like, what?
Pad.
Looking for pool?
Pad.
What?
Pad.
Some fronts. You can find some fronts.
Find
You can
hot dog.
find it. It's not that hard to find. You know, if you
Yeah.
don't care about, COVID. I mean, half the time now when it's like that, you don't care about no COVID, right? You be like, I got other stuff I got on my mind right now.
But
But
but I think sometimes, not to cut you off, like when you
mhm,
said like people, they need to say what they want. Sometimes some people, they do. They don't want it right now. So it's okay to say, yes, I do see myself getting married one day and being in a committed relationship, but I see that maybe 5, 6 years down the road. And that's when you want to start getting serious about it. Not that I'm in a relationship and then on the 6th year, then I'm doing it. Erica said, risk it all. I know. But I definitely think that is definitely a thing where some people, they know what it is they want. They don't want it right now. And it's okay. It's best to tell the person on the front end, this is not what I want right now. There's no time invested, there's no feelings invested. And then people, they can move on, what is the word? In good faith, without any type of problems. I
well,
just thought,
it boils down to people being selfish, though. I think, a lot
oh
of
yeah,
times
that
people
too.
don't want to say it because they feel like it's that FOMO, fear of missing out. If I tell you that I don't know, or that I don't want something serious, or I do want something serious, then if you don't want that, I'm gonna miss out on you. And I don't want you to
Mm.
go and find something else. So let me kind of just stay aligned with you so I at least have you in my life until I figure out what I want. And it's selfish. It's selfish.
Yes, and people
Either
need to be
either way.
okay with people walking away from them. Sometimes people need to know the difference between, was you rejected, like did the person flat out reject you because of something of you, versus we're not on the same page, we're
Right.
not even in the same book, we're not even in the same category of books, so therefore it's not going to work, and just acknowledging if this is not going to work for me and for what I want, so then therefore I'm going left, you going right. That's not rejection, that is acknowledgement of what the situation is, and
And
no
it
lies
doesn't make
is
you
told.
a bad person. It doesn't make the other person a bad person. It just means you want different things. And to be honest, sometimes you may get on the same page later. It's not impossible, but I personally think no matter what it is you want or you looking for, you just need to be honest. There is somebody who wants exactly what you want. And it's easy to well, it's easier said than done, especially when you're single. So like if you're looking for a serious relationship, you know, sometimes that's not as easy. Especially I think in the world that we're living in right now.
Mm,
So many people kind of want relationships but don't want to be committed, or they want it to be okay that they cheat, they do a whole bunch of other stuff. We're making songs about if I was going, what's that song about division that just came out? If I cheat, don't mean
um,
I don't love you or something like that.
it's like that don't mean that I don't love you. Oh, I love the vision. That's number one. He's
They
my
sound good, but
favorite.
I mean, I just think it's that honestly a depiction of the dating world that we're in. But
If
it's
I get caught, that's the name of the song. If I get caught, that don't mean that I don't love you. Does that mean like we're gonna risk it all? And if people go to like his YouTube page, they do a little snippet of the focus group, and like some of the people was like, I'm triggered by this. Like, I don't know. And then one guy said, I'm glad somebody said it. It was just like, you so bad. But, if you watch the video at the end, this girl, she done told his house up and all his belongings, and it was his friend who had left his phone over there.
but the reality is, so let's even get into the whole idea. If I get caught, that don't mean I don't want you, I don't love you. Half of the people who cheat, because I'm not gonna just say men, because women cheat too. If their partner cheated, they would have a problem.
Yes.
It would not be okay if the other person did. And personally, and then if that's fine, then I think that's when you should decide to have an open relationship. If it's fine that you sometimes will be with other people and I'm with, then that's an open communication. Like, oh, this is what we're doing.
And you
We
know
don't need
what?
to lie
This
about it.
Because see, some people they define cheating as if okay, you slept with somebody or you have like a whole nother relationship. Me personally, this is what I define as cheating. You do you whatever it is that you doing. If I did it, it will make you feel hurt. You will question my integrity. You will question everything that has happened and what's going on in this relationship. To me, that is cheating. To me, it ain't about the conversation, it's the content of the conversation.
Right.
Okay, you exchanged your telephone number. What was the intent of changing the telephone number? Because to me, if you end up cheating with somebody and then you sleep together, that's the final stage. You already done went through a lot.
Right. And you already lied. There's a lot of stuff that's already happened by the time y'all slept together.
And I have a question to pose to the people. This one for the ladies. The ladies, and for the men that's gonna watch this too. Have you ever met somebody and you really literally been talking, not been in a relationship, but then something happened and you realize, oh my God, I'm in a full relationship with this person and we've been together for 10 years, although you've only met them for about 6 months. Because the stuff that don't happen, like, when did this happen? Like you so mad. And don't be in an unspoken relationship, whatever the hell that is. But some people they have them too.
Oh
What-
Lord. Oh Lord. What's an unspoken relationship?
I have no idea.
Oh Lord.
Look, Erica said, "What? Yes, they them people they out there. That was the new term
So
that
how
was
how can you
introduced
be
to me.
in a 10-year relationship that only lasted 6 months?
You
What's
know,
the
sometimes
context?
like
You mean like a lot of things happen within these 6 months? It's like y'all been
now
together.
you do have that, but then sometimes where it's just like, okay, we don't go together. We not. We may be doing dating or whatever like that. We getting to know each other. This is the infancy, but then something may happen, and it's just like, wait a minute, the conversation that is happening, like we in a relationship, but not a brand new relationship. Like we've been together for 10 years. Like how? What, ain't nobody told me nothing.
That's a lack of communication. That's a lack of communication on everybody's part. Because if you find out that you're in a relationship, or you find out you're in a relationship, it's now time to have a conversation. Is when this happened and when did I agree?
That is why I don't go by what it appears to be, because I found myself in a situation years ago with this guy. Some stuff had happened, and I was just like, "Well, as your girlfriend," he said, "Wait a minute, you're not my girlfriend." I said, "What you mean?"
Ooh,
And he was like, and I'm listening to all this stuff, and he said,
oh,
"I never asked you to be my girl."
oh,
When
that
I
hurt
say,
my heart. As your girlfriend, and he said, "You not my
"You,"
girl."
and then I was like, "Why am I not?" Because I'm itemizing everything. And then he hit me back. He was like, "I never asked you to be my girlfriend."
Mm,
All I could do was swallow it. I said, "You right. You right." And from that day forward, unless you ask me, I'm not your girlfriend. I don't care what we doing. I could been a met your mama and them. All of
mm,
them. I ain't your girlfriend. If you
mm.
don't ask me, I'm not your girlfriend. I'm still gonna be operating in singleness because of that. That individual changed me forever. If you do not ask me, I never assume that I'm in a relationship with someone. Ever. If we have not talked about it, spoken about it, like, okay, you want me to be your girlfriend? Because guess what? Those words, like, I want us to be in a relationship. What type of relationship? Girlfriend, boyfriend relationship, or you want us to be so close that we cousins?
You
What is
that hurt my heart, but that made me think about another statement. You ever somebody said, "Ooh, you'll make somebody a great wife," and you be like,
and you
"What
dealing
about
with
you?" But we talking.
like you don't
What?
want no great wife.
That's another crusher right there. I've had that happen, and I was like, I'm confused. Like, oh, that definitely defined what this is. It's like you will make someone a great wife. Someone, not you.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Like what?
Stick your face
Please,
up.
that's a way to tell me. You over here wasting your time since your
Wasting
husband.
all your damn time.
Since
Girl, pack your bag. Go.
I guess I got to be the one to tell you.
Lord have mercy.
Like, yeah, if you don't get yourself up out of here and find that man, because guess what? Yes, these dudes they do be talking crazy.
And that's why I think we should talk crazy too. One thing I'm gonna say, men have all the audacity. They have all of the audacity. They don't have a problem asking for what they want, generally speaking. Now, when it
This is
comes
true.
to like true communication, they may not be able to communicate in that. But just generally speaking, they will ask for what they want.
Yeah,
They will.
yeah,
We be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask. Maybe this. Da, 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 da.
yeah,
Child,
yeah.
listen, dating,
These people they out here. I don't know.
huh?
I said these people they out here, in the words of TK Copeland, the comedian, who raised
Who
you?
raised you? And that's why, once again, I go to the point of knowing what you want because at the end of the day, you have to know what you want. So when you are dealing with somebody and it's showing up and you're not getting what you want out of it, no matter what you want is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's just companionship, whether it's just we hook up every now and then, if it's not looking like how you want, this relationship, so which situationship to look, then it's time to move on. It's time to have at least a conversation like, hey, you know, I know we said we were just kicking it, but you're doing a lot of relationship type stuff. I'm just checking in to make sure we're still on the same page. And that takes like some real grown up, what they say, put on your big girl panties, put on your
Yeah.
big boy drawers to like have that conversation because you don't want to hurt somebody, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're on the same page so that you don't have these things happening down the line that you're dealing with, if you are someone who cares about people's
and
feelings.
and a lot of times it comes with that question, what are we doing? Because clearly whatever was said initially and what is actually being experienced is like day and night. So whoever is posing that question to the other person, what are we doing,
I mean,
better
this looks
better
different.
be sincere, because it's like what we're talking about and what we're doing, it's not matching up, and I don't want to be confused. That's the main takeaway. It's like I don't want to be confused about what's going on.
But I will say, going back to what you said, what dude was like, you know, who asked you to be my girlfriend? I have learned over time that it is the last thing we talked about. If we didn't talk about something different in the last year, it is still what we talked about last year. It don't matter what happened.
Sadly enough,
You could
it
be
is.
cuddling every time you come over. You cooking for me. I'm cooking for you. You picking up things for me from the grocery store. It don't matter. We ain't had no conversation between this point and this point. We not together.
Yeah.
Now, people start getting possessive and feelings get involved, right? Like if you start dating somebody else or whatever. But truth be told, nothing has changed because you have not had a conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
usually when you do have a conversation, it's based on what benefits someone else. Like you said, as your girlfriend. Oh, now it's like, oh no, you're not my girlfriend. But I bet had you was dating somebody else and he found out, he'd be mad. He might not called you his girlfriend. However, it would have been something like, you out here dating people. I thought we was doing our thing. They like that our thing,
What
child.
is our thing? You
But
call
just
it a spade
that
a
is a
spade.
rule of thumb. In our 40s, people, you in your 20s, you in your 30s, listen, are you back on the dating scene? Unless you've had a conversation, it is not anything different from the last thing you talked about. Period. It does not matter. It is not.
Yes. That's the main takeaway. And to wrap this up, if you are online dating, because there's a lot of stigma to it, and I think it's just with any place about safety, and this go for men and women, but especially women, because we are more apt for assault and raping. I'm not saying it doesn't happen on the other side, but it's most commonly happen where women end up being the victims. Let someone else know where you're going.
Yes. That, and I'm gonna say this for men too, because they be setting men up.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
So you're not too grown. You don't have to tell your mama. You don't have to tell your daddy. Tell
but want
somebody.
somebody, and
Send
guess
somebody
what?
your location.
Screenshot that picture, because 9 times out of 10, if the person picture didn't have, I don't know, I don't never talk to nobody online and you ain't got no picture profile, because I need to know what it is. And guess what? We're going to very soon, like within 24 to 48 hours, 72 hours max, we finna video chat real time. You ain't finna have me on no catfish show where I was talking to them and I've been in a relationship all the time and I ain't never seen live.
Mm.
I know if I'm on catfish, you best to know I'm the host. I'm the
And I
guest host. I'm
and I
not a
also think it's not just online dating. Like you can meet
just
someone at
in
the grocery
general.
store. It could be the family friend. It could be the person that you met at work. Because especially you just don't really know people, right?
Yes.
But like you said, safety is important outside of masking. So just your
Yes.
safety. Tell somebody where you're going. Don't
Who
think
you
that just
going
because
with? You have
exactly.
with
Just
who you.
because you're a man doesn't mean that someone might not try to take advantage of you, to rob you, to kill you. I mean, there's enough stories out there where people are like hunting people. You know,
Absolutely.
like
Because
be
there's plenty of
careful.
people that's on the prowl. People are having hard times now. With we're fastly
Oh,
approaching a recession because of inflation and stuff. times are harder for people who was already having hard times, people who
Yep.
was on the verge of it. It's getting difficult for everybody. So you're going to see a whole lot more stuff that's going to happen because people are going to shift into high gear of survival mode.
Yep.
Send a picture of the person who you're supposed to be with, wherever you going. Guess what? Don't let the people pick you up. Unless y'all gonna share a Uber and that ain't that person car and that ain't your car, drive, get there on your own
The
so that
first
you
thing,
can
this your first time meeting, you don't have to get picked up.
exactly. He want to bring you or she want to bring you flowers and candy and roses and all this other different type of stuff, balloons. Guess what? They can meet you wherever you go be at with them. They don't have to be there at your house. And I know there's been a couple of videos that has been circulating around social media about, oh, the guy, he's there and he wants to have sex because he done bought this dinner and stuff. Have your own money, have your own money, and then guess what? If you know you do not, under no circumstances, you don't care if the vibe is right or not, you don't want to have sex on the first date, you need to say that, because some people are like, well, you didn't say no.
Right.
So, and we see so many people where, especially women and people of color, they do not want to investigate things that happen to us that result in death. It does not matter. It's just like you do not want to be trending or a hashtag for some type of craziness, and then your parents or your family members are there to try to sort it out, and then the authorities are not trying to investigate to see what happened to you. It's not saying everybody ain't Charles Manson, everybody ain't out to kill you, but guess what? If you proceed like that, just like we have in hospital, you treat everything as an infectious
Okay, you wear your PPE. Everybody in the world learned about PPE during COVID. You wear your
universal
gloves, you
precaution.
wear your not a mask, but you goggles. You wear a lab coat because you
Yes,
treat everything like it's infection. It's
yes,
infection. You
universal
can't do that.
precautions. Because I don't know, I'm treating you like, guess what? I can get this and I can potentially die.
And
So
our phones actually now send locations. Like you can send someone your location. To me, that is a staple. You let somebody know where you are, um because people are crazy out here. And what let's even stop with the crazy part. What happens if your phone loses battery, right? So your
mhm.
phone lost battery, something happened with the person's car, something happened with your car, anything can happen. So just overall safety.
What about if the date is right, but then you run into a doggone Karen or a Ken?
Not child.
I'm just
Just a topic
they
for
are,
another date.
they
But
are
yeah, so to wrap it up, just like at the pool where you have lifeguards and you can wear your little thing around your waist in the pool to make sure you don't drown, and you have your little things on your arms and woo woo woo. Don't go too deep if you don't know how to swim. Listen, if you don't know about stuff people talking about, oh, I want to bring you to this orgy place and you don't know nothing. Like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to. I'm good. Like, don't go too deep in. Don't go to the deep end too early.
right. When
Play
you
where you know
when
where to play. Play where you know you can at any moment you can stand up and you can breathe. And you can
yes,
still be
yes.
alive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we just like everybody to be safe, just all the way around. Physical safety, from infectious and other people. Be constant of, dating, and just your whereabouts and your just general surroundings on day to day. And if you have closed yourself off, find a way to be able to start feeling comfortable getting back to do some of those normal things in a
Yeah.
in a safe way, because just closing yourself off from everyone, that is not healthy mentally for anyone. And your family and your friends miss you. So regardless whether it's meeting people or not, we miss one another, and we've been missing one another going on 3 years now.
Yeah.
So we just want everybody to do that. We can definitely keep,
Well, my
keep it
takeaway is I need to get new friends. I need friends that know men. No,
I,
no good men to hook me up. That's my takeaway. So I'm going to the bar looking for friends. That
All right. Yes.
maybe.
Look, you want to be our friends? DM us. Facebook, Instagram, send it on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Email us at the40spot@gmail.com. We not hard to find.
Please let us know what's going on in Atlanta, Nashville. Let us know what's going on so we could go out. We can get a new group of friends and new hobbies, and find us a new pool.
Yes, yes, yes. Look, the men they want to be talked to, they out here with Hoochie Daddy short song. You
Nah,
know?
hello, and the hooch daddy, hoochie, yeah,
Yeah,
what a
I'm
little bit.
for it. I like that. I'm just saying.
Well, now that we are celebrating our new lot on life, now we're gonna
Yes,
celebrate birthdays.
yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Um, so in the month of July, who do I have? My cousin Jackie, my cousin Shay, she made it to 40, so I'm happy
All
for her.
right.
And it's not a birthday, but on the 30th, my cousin she will be getting married. So we wish her the best for her and her new husband. We welcome him to our family, and both of them they in their 40s. So we want to see y'all over here at the 40 spot.
All right. So I have a couple people. I want to say happy birthday to Rashad. He's one of our followers and our listeners. I want to say happy birthday to him, to my line sister Nicole, and to my cousin Corey. They had birthdays at this end part of um July. So happy birthday to everyone. And again, send us your birthdays. Email us at the40spot@gmail.com. That's the40spot@gmail.com with your information, your birthday. So we can shout you out. We love to celebrate people.
Yes, yes, and we love to celebrate you all. Um, Please feel free to support our channel. Um, we are at Cash App at the 40 spot. You know, if you just so choose, like, comment, subscribe, share. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when we're getting ready to go live. Um, and we just want to just see you. Everybody stay cool because these are record temperatures. Whatever the Lord is
Yes.
making outside is done.
No matter where you go in the pool, like listen, stay cool, stay cool, stay cool. And we
Yes,
just thank you all for listening to us live today. We thank you for tuning in. And for everybody on the replay, we just thank you. Please tell everyone, like Renee said, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another spicy topic. We have not decided on that topic yet, but it's gonna be great.
yes,
Kind of in between topics right now what we want to do, but we just want you to come back and enjoy us. Remember, it's every other week that we are here. And again, if you miss anything, you can go back on anywhere you get your podcast and enjoy it. So everyone have a wonderful week, and just our positive note, just uh, you don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, let go, and see what happens.
all right. I like that.
So with
So,
that, we say thank you. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
peace out.